Hey folks, welcome to another episode of Tidbits from the Road. Coming at you live here. Actually not on a work commute for once. I wanted to give you guys one of these for a couple reasons actually. One, I haven't done one in a while. Two, I actually got a software update that I wanted to talk about for a brief moment. And three, and the most important reason actually, is you might notice I've got a lav mic on me now. That is because I have picked up, if you've been paying attention on Twitter by chance, a Zoom H1N recorder that hopefully will improve the audio on this video. Guys have been giving me feedback for a little while that while the Tidbits from the Road were all well and good, the audio was kind of rough because the car noise was very noticeable. So I'm hoping that the Zoom with the lav mic will help take care of that. Big shout out to @Sullivan1, Steel Sully on Twitter, because he's the reason why I have this. If you'd been following me while I was on vacation, I had a little Where's Evie contest for all the superchargers that I stopped at, and he managed to win the contest. So I was going to ship him off a $25 Amazon gift card, but he asked me to just go ahead and keep the gift card and put it toward the show or something else or whatever. And so I did. I made another investment in the show, picked up this recorder, and hopefully that will improve things. I won't know until I actually get the recording off of this, whether it was worth doing or not. So we'll see. So anyway, on to some Tesla content here instead of navel gazing here. Today, for the first time in a while, I got a software update. Picked up version 28.26, which, as far as us mortals are aware, seems to just add the new nomenclature on the binnacle for those of us with a binnacle that tells you to when autopilot is telling you, hey, I don't feel you there, I need to feel you, it tells you to apply light force to the steering wheel. And the other feature it adds is the ability to limit the top speed of the vehicle. I've actually not done this yet. So combine 2018.26 with version, I think it's 3.41 of the Tesla app. I will look at that real quick since I'm stopped at a stoplight anyway. I'm sitting at 3.42, but I could swear the documentation said 3.41. Anyway, I know for sure it's on 3.42. But anyhow, you get a little in the controls section, and I tweeted this out earlier today too. At the very bottom of the controls section, you do now have the ability to control the top speed of the car. So there's that. But other than those couple things, now granted I haven't driven much today, so this Tidbits from the Road will actually be a little bit telling. There's really nothing different. Interface looks the same, everything looks the same. Nothing really to speak of that's changed drastically. Now granted, autopilot is always the thing we look for whenever we have these new updates. So really a little more time with this probably is going to be necessary to see how the old autopilot does. And as always, remember, I do have an Autopilot 1 car, so the experience may be different between myself and those of you out there with AP2 cars. So for the moment, nothing major has jumped out at me. So we had a small topic there with the software update, but let's get to a bigger topic that I just thought of as I was on the drive here. Again, it should be just a short drive, but one or two topics, that'll be good. Let's talk a little bit about Model 3, which is what all of y'all out there, well, not all of y'all, but most of y'all out there are probably the most interested in. We got, obviously, here recently, they hit the goal of producing 5,000 Model 3s in a week, and actually at the same time threw out 2,000 Model S's and X's as well, which is pretty impressive. When you think about it, if they sustain that and just stay there and nothing else, that's going to give 4 weeks in a month. That's going to be 28,000 cars a month they're churning out when they get to a fully sustained. Because I'm not, I'm not naive. The 5,000, they achieved it, but can they keep going with it? And I know they will eventually, but right now, somehow I doubt that that's a sustained 5,000 per week rate on Model 3. But when they get there, think about it, 28,000 cars a month going out of there, and extrapolate that out to a full year, and all of a sudden, that's 280,000 over 10 months, another 46,000 on top of that. So 326,000 cars in a year. And on top of that, obviously 5,000 is not where they plan on stopping. They want to get to 10,000. But even if they get, let's just say they get a little bit further up, or get a couple of charitable bursts, you're talking 350,000 cars a year for a company that was happy last year to churn out over 100,000. And that's in the span of, this year is not going to see that total benefit, obviously, but next year, over the course of 2 years, they are going to more than triple their previous output. And as I was saying, they're not stopping at 6,000 or 5,000 per week. So if they improve on that the S curve that Elon keeps talking about, it's going to be more like an exponential curve rather than an S curve, at least for the short term, as far as the total factory production goes. Because man, that graph is going to look impressive when you look at it from a history of the company perspective. The point where you're going to have a little step up where Model S occurred, a little step up where Model X occurred, and then there's just this massive SpaceX-like rocket going up where Model 3 came onto the scene. So let's talk a little bit about one of the things, and this will be the final topic for this video. One of the things that has come up, I think, literally every time Tesla has released a car. Probably not for the Roadster, but I'm pretty sure for Model S, I'm certain for Model X, and it's kick you in the face obvious for Model 3. And that is this every time, the low-end version of this car will never exist. So I am going to make some apologies on this right now to the unfortunate souls out there of you that are waiting on the base $35,000 car. You folks are going to be still waiting. Probably, they've set the time frame to be end of this year, early next year. And frankly, I wouldn't, if you've been with me for a while, I look conservatively. I don't like to, it's very easy to get excited about Tesla and kind of get caught up in the excitement. And let's be frank, become a fanboy and say some very unrealistic things about what you might think that they're going to do. So that said, I always try to be conservative, and I'm going to say, you folks looking for the $35,000 car, probably, if I were you, if I were in your shoes, I wouldn't be expecting it before the beginning of the second quarter next year. I just don't see Elon and company. I think they want to have everything smoothed out as possible, get to the point where they know that they're making the margins they need to be on the cars that are going to produce higher margins for them, so they're not losing money on cars when they produce them. And then they'll begin to produce the very base level cars. But the topic I wanted to get to is twofold. Firstly, that it's somehow this surprise that at this point that this is what's happening. And I do know early on it was sort of alluded to that the lower level cars with Model 3 would be the first ones produced. It wasn't going to be the performance, the super high-end cars like they had done with Model X and with Model S. And that was half true, because while the Model 3s that were put out initially weren't performance, they weren't base either. They were lower to middle, how about that, of the range. because obviously no performance available, obviously no all-wheel drive available, and you only had a very limited amount of options available to you. So, sort of true, sort of not. It is what it is. But it's really shouldn't be a surprise that that's how this is going at this point. Tesla's history suggests this. So when the media, and this is kind of where I'm getting to the point, when the media is saying, oh, this doesn't exist yet. Yeah, it doesn't. But Tesla's track record shows that it will. It always has. Now, if you look at the Model S, very, very, very few of the base models were ever even configured to be sold. But obviously it's not apples to apples, because Model 3 is meant to be a car for the masses, and I suspect a lot of those base cars are going to be sold. But anyhow, with Model S, they did offer it, they did sell a few, but they sold so few that they discontinued the base model. Model X, it wasn't necessarily performance, it was the 5-seat model that would give you the lowest cost version of the car. And again, the 5-seat models did not show up for a long, long time. And again, the performance models were the first ones out of the gate. But we did eventually get, and they still sell to this day, the 5-seat model. Actually, my wife and I, when it comes time to get rid of her Subaru, we'll be looking at a 5-seat model. So that gives you that. Which brings us to Model 3 and the base $35,000 model, which, if you look all over the news, the complaints are, or at least the insinuation is, that it'll never exist. It'll never exist. This is not something that's real, blah, blah, blah. Folks, we've done this with 2 cars already. The base model, Tesla promised X and delivered X. Well, I guess I should say S and then X. It happened. And for you to doubt that the 3 is, if you use some brain cells, it's really easy to see that the 3 is going to exist. Nothing in the company's DNA suggests that it won't exist. When people complain about the media or short sellers or whatever being dishonest, this is kind of the stuff that people are talking about. If you just look at history, you see that in history, it's happened every single time. I've rambled enough for one show here. Sorry about kind of running off at the mouth a little bit there, but I get a little frustrated sometimes. Anyhow, I hope you've enjoyed this little sort of bite-sized episode. I hope that the audio does sound better. I will not know that until I edit this thing, so here's hoping. But thanks so much, as always, to my patrons out there that are supporting the show financially. If you'd like to become one of those people, please visit patreon.com/Tesla Tidbits and check out the page. Whether it's $1, $5, whatever you want to give, it's all very much appreciated. And as usual, a special thanks to all the super patrons out there that are supporting the show at the $10 plus level. You will see all their names on cards following the end of the show. So that's going to wrap it up for this show. Thanks so much for all your support out there, folks. Remember to give the show a like or a subscribe here on YouTube, and share it out to everyone else that might enjoy Tesla content. That's it for this one. Until next time, keep it charged and hit the road.